You ever get that feeling where you're staring at a piece of wood and you can practically hear it daring you to mess up the grain direction? I spent 3 hours yesterday just looking at a slab of Goncalo Alves. It's like wrestling a tiger that happens to be made of iron and orange rinds.
Is that why you've been hiding in the shed? I thought you were just avoiding the pile of laundry. But wait, Goncalo Alves, isn't that tiger wood? Please tell me you aren't picking lumber based on your own branding now. That's a bit on the nose, even for you.
Believe me, if I wanted to stroke my ego, I'd find something a lot softer than that. It's for a block plane I'm building. It's one of those woods that's so dense, it'll actually make your saw blades cry for mercy. But the finish is like glass. It's got this weight to it that makes you feel like a real craftsman, even if you're just making expensive sawdust.
Well, while you're busy negotiating with expensive timber, the rest of the world is moving into the future. I've been looking at the new Creality Toolchanger. It's not just printing in red and blue anymore. We're talking about actual multi-material systems that don't leave a mountain of wasted plastic poop behind the printer.
I remember when high-tech was a digital readout on a table saw. But this tool changer business, it's different. Most of those multicolor printers are just basically a glorified Pez dispenser, shoving one string of plastic out to make room for the next. This Creality setup, it's playing with the big boys now, like that Bondtech gear. It actually swaps the whole head.
Exactly. It's the difference between a painter having to wash their only brush every time they want a new color versus just picking up a different brush that's already loaded. You could print a rigid carbon fiber frame and then have the machine swap over to a flexible TPU for the gaskets, all in one go. That's a game changer for prototyping.
TPU is the one that usually smells like a gym mat and behaves like wet spaghetti when you try to feed it, right?
Usually, yeah, but Prusa just put out this Galaxy Black TPU. It's a 95A hardness, so it's firm enough to actually handle easily, but still gives you that bounce. And it's got that glitter finish. It's basically black tie attire for your mechanical parts.
Glitter in the workshop. Don't let the old-timers hear you say that, Alex. They'll revoke my cranky woodworker license. But honestly, having that NFC tag on the spool to track how much you have left, that's the real magic. There is no heartbreak quite like waking up at 3 a.m. to see your printer clicking away at thin air because you ran out of filament 3 grams before the finish line.
It's the digital equivalent of you realizing you're one screw short for a cabinet at 8:52 p.m. on a Sunday.
Don't go digging up those bones. That's a scar that hasn't fully healed.
Speaking of scars and hard-earned wisdom, I was reading this thread on Electrician Talk. There's a guy on there who just hit master electrician status. He didn't just go the pulling wire and new builds route. He started in industrial maintenance at a community college.
That's the thinking man's entry into the trades. Industrial maintenance is basically like being a detective where the suspect can actually kill you if you touch the wrong thing. You aren't just following a blueprint, you're figuring out why a $3 million assembly line decided to take a nap at noon.
He made a huge point about not just learning the how, but the why of the National Electrical Code. He said that was the bridge between being the guy who gets handed a tool belt and the guy who owns the truck and signs the paychecks.
It's true. People think the code is just a book of rules to annoy you, but it's actually a map of every mistake someone else already made so you don't have to. Transitioning to a master and contractor, man, that's where the real maker mogul energy is. You stop selling your hours and start selling your expertise.
Speaking of maker moguls, how do you feel about the fact that some people are making $5,000 in a weekend by just going to other people's houses and selling their stuff?
You mean estate sales? I've lost half my life expectancy in dusty basements looking for old Delta drill presses.
Well, Sue Antonori is doing it through platforms like Auction Ninja. She's pulling in serious cash by acting as the filter. Think about it. As a maker, you can spot the difference between a hand-forged Japanese chisel and something that came out of a discount bin. Most people just see old, rusty tools.
You're right, we have a trained eye for the bones of things. You see a mid-century chair with a broken leg, most people see junk. I see a weekend project and a 300% markup. It's about being the person who can curate the chaos. Although, I'd probably end up buying more than I sold. My workshop is already more of a museum for tools I might need in a localized apocalypse.
I've seen your museum. It's a liability. But for those who don't want to deal with physical sawdust, there's the digital side. I saw a breakdown of 22 ways to monetize gaming, not just streaming, but actually building, like digital architects in Minecraft or Roblox.
It's the same brain, Alex. Whether you're figuring out the load-bearing capacity of a timber truss or the logic gates in a redstone circuit, you're building a world. I just prefer my worlds to have a bit more physical gravity and maybe some splinters.
Speaking of world building, let's talk about that backyard journey series that's trending. Someone is finally telling the truth about DIY burnout.
Is it the one where they realize they can't build a deck, a fire pit, and a Japanese Zen garden in a single Saturday?
Exactly. Phase your projects. People watch those 30-second montages on social media where a backyard goes from a mud pit to an oasis in the blink of an eye, and they think they're failures because they still have a pile of gravel in their driveway 3 weeks later.
I call that the renovation hangover. You start with all this fire and brimstone, and by week 2, you're just tired of your house looking like a construction zone. The smart play is what they mention, modernizing things like topiary. Topiary rotations of dust. It sounds high concept, but it's just architectural head shaping. You can change the whole vibe of a yard with a pair of shears and a bit of patience, and it doesn't cost $10,000 in lumber.
I like the idea of phasing. It gives you those small wins. Finish the flower bed, have a beer. Build the planter, have a beer.
By the time you get to the deck, you'll be too wobbly to use a circular saw. But you're right. Satisfaction is the fuel that keeps a project moving. If you try to eat the whole elephant at once, you're just going to get a stomachache.
So, what's the move for the listeners today? Are we upgrading the printer, studying the NEC, or hitting the estate sales?
I think the lesson today is about the lens you're looking through, whether you're a master electrician looking at a complex circuit or a maker looking at a pile of estate sale junk. The value isn't in the stuff, it's in the way you understand it. It's about being the person who knows why the wires go there or why that specific wood is worth the struggle.
And maybe not buying every rusty plane you see at an auction.
Hey, I can stop whenever I want. I just don't want to yet. Go build something today, folks. Even if it's just a digital house or a better way to organize your screws. Just don't let the tools sit idle.
And for heaven's sake, watch your grain direction.
Always. Catch you next time in the